No, they gotta do better. Get it together, boys. Get it together. One guy that's gotten it together very well, Jack Hughes, an NHL leading 14 points. We mentioned the game winner against the New York Islanders the other day. Chris T is saying, "Why do I have trouble? Why do I have a terrible feeling that Jack Hughes is going to put up 100 points?" Is that what that just said?
140
Yeah.
points.
Yeah.
Uh, Jack Hughes is currently the best player in the NHL. And guys, I'm going to start this off because I picked him to be the MVP this year, and I'm going to buy around on this one, especially when you could say the words currently, because right now he is leading the NHL in points. McDavid is going to catch up. He's McDavid. It's what he's going to do. And but right now, I got to go with Jack Hughes. Phil, what do you think?
No, McDavid's still the best player. Is Jack Hughes leading the NHL in scoring? Yeah, that I mean he's had a real hot start. He's scoring at almost 3 points per game. The way that he's playing right now has been last seen by Mario Lemieux in 1993, and that was a season that he scored 160 points in 60 games, including 69 goals. I mean, he was on pace to shatter Wayne Gretzky's single season points record of 215 points. He would have scored over 220 points that year. He actually might have broken it by 10 or more points had he played the full 84 games in 93. So that's just putting in perspective what Jack Hughes is doing right now. But I still don't think he's the best player in the league right now. He's right now he's on a ridiculous heater.
So, Mark, like you, actually, I picked Jack Hughes to win the MVP award. In the fourth period when we all did our picks, it was all McDavid, a couple of the guys, and I just picked Jack Hughes. I thought last year his 99 points, he was fantastic, and I just had a feeling that, this year he was going to be even better. And look, is Connor McDavid the best player in the National Hockey League for sure? But like if you're talking about right now, Jack Hughes is playing like he's the best NHL player. 14 points in 5 games. I mean, he's just every time he touches the puck, he makes something happen. And I think this is a guy that's for sure breaking 100 points this year. He's not getting stuck at 99 like last year. I don't know. It's unfortunate because he plays in the Metro Division and for teams that we happen to like, the Devils having a player like this caliber is, painful. Um, but man, is he really special. I think I stand by my MVP pick award for him this year. And right now he's certainly playing like one. So I'm going to go round.
Yeah, and he just looks like a monster, and he's just so casual about everything right now. Like again, I go back to that game winner against the Islanders, where it was just okay. You're gonna give me the space. I'll just walk in a little bit more. There's the game winner, and almost he could have done the Keith Kachuk, point to the door and say we're going home. All right, one team that had the record for the most wins in a single season or the most points, the Boston Bruins. They're 6-0 right now, but they got their wins over Chicago, two of them, Anaheim, San Jose, Nashville, and the LA Kings. That's a combined 10 wins between those 6 teams. The Bruins' record is more about their strength of schedule.
I'm probably going to buy around in this. I mean they're playing close games against teams that are really not good. A lot Chicago picked to be one of the worst teams in the league, a lottery team again. Um, I mean Anaheim, and they have Anaheim again for their next game. I mean Boston's not beating great teams. The one team that they've beaten that's any good is LA. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not buying them as this 6-0 juggernaut team. I said that they would fight for a playoff spot, and I still believe that they're going to fight for one. They might even get that last playoff spot. But this hot start is definitely due to the lack of competition that they have played through their first 6 games, with the obvious exception being the LA Kings, as I've said before. So I'm buying around on this. It's definitely due to the strength and schedule.
Yeah, I'm going round too. I mean, Chicago, they played beat twice. They're like John said, they're expected to be a lottery team again. San Jose, many picked them to be the worst team in the whole entire NHL. Anaheim again, another bottom 3 team. So that's 4 wins over 4 really bad teams. Round.
Yeah, I got to make this one another hat trick, boys. And we're not really saying anything against the Bruins on this. What we're really trying to say is they, I mean, you'd love it if they had these wins over the Avalanche, the Stars, or somebody else that's at least knocking at the door. But again, nobody's trying to take anything away from the Bruins, but if you start looking at them and going, look, hey, they're the only or they're 6-0 right now, they're looking good. Are they?
They've allowed the least amount of goals in the league, but Nashville, not a good team. They're expected to be a bottom feeder. 2 goals against them. San Jose, 1 goal. Chicago, in 2 games, 1 goal. Anaheim, 1 goal. LA, 2 goals in the 1 game that they played against them. And that's the one team that's considered legitimate competition for them. So I want to see what it's like for them when they get to the strength, when they get past this Anaheim game, and then they have to play Detroit, who's playing better hockey. They look like they're taking the next step. Florida, who's hit or miss. Toronto, a legitimate team. Detroit again. Dallas, a legitimate team. The Islanders, who will be a tough matchup. That stretch of 6 games, to me, we're going to find out a lot more about the Bruins during that stretch.
And Phil, just to go through and give the Bruins a little bit more credit on this, because just because they're playing the bottom feeder teams doesn't mean that, again, we're not taking anything away from them, but they're overcoming the mental aspects of it. They're playing every game, regardless of when it is on the road trip. You're like, oh, we're playing the Blackhawks. Well, you can get up for it because now you got Bedard to worry about.
Yep.
But then you have, let's say, games on back-to-backs. Then you have a couple days off. Games at the end of a road trip. They're still finishing these games strong. And look, Montgomery's doing a great job with them so far. But
yeah,
you're a little concerned. They're winning it on defense right now, right? Right, Anthony? That's all you.
I mean, I get it. They're good teams. You're supposed to beat teams that you should. That's a sign of a good team. So I give them that, but I'm not going to buy into that. They're going to be a juggernaut again because again, look who they played. But so again, you can't take away all credit for them because they got the job done. They're supposed to. So kudos. But until they start playing, some good teams here and really use as a measuring stick, I'm not going to, just say, oh, well, everybody was wrong and they're going to be 100 and whatever they were last season. How many points?
No, of course. No, I'll say one last thing regarding them. And Matthew Poitras has actually been really good for them.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a real surprise. He's got 4 points in 6 games, rookie season for him. Considering that Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha have really not given them anything offensively, this is big for them because this is exactly what they needed. Because as soon as Mark Scheifele was that extension was announced, I was like, oh god, Boston's in a lot of trouble. And Poitras has actually been really good, and he looks like someone who's playing well beyond his years. So if he keeps this up, I mean, Boston could end up being a playoff team.
Well, one team that has about 25% of the points that Boston has right now, the Edmonton Oilers, 1-4-1 on the season, only 3 points, and people have them as a Stanley Cup contender. Mr. LaRocco, the Oilers are in trouble.
I mean, when you have McDavid out for 1 to 2 weeks, that's not going to help things. But again, it's still, you don't want to see the record they have. I mean, 1-4-1 clearly is not a good start, but still, it is still only 6 games. So I wouldn't say like they're obviously done because that would just be silly. But there is some reason for concern for sure. I mean, they're not defending well. Their goaltenders aren't giving them solid goaltending. And it goes back to their depth. I mean, you have Draisaitl, McDavid. I mean, Zach Hyman, he's been good, but after that, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins likely isn't going to score 100 points again, and I still don't think they did enough changes in the offseason to make them a better all-around team. I mean, Connor Brown isn't what the doctor ordered. I thought they needed still a better, even after adding Matthias Ekholm, I think they still needed to improve their defense. And I still think they could have stood to, change the makeup of their forward group a little bit. Because when McDavid and Draisaitl aren't carrying the load, more often than not, they're not going to win hockey games. So, and you also have to consider they're in a conference too that have some improved teams that are going to give a little bit more pushback. So the longer they slide here, just the harder it's going to make on themselves to make sure that they're shooing for the playoffs. I mean, there's improved teams. I mean, Arizona is an improved team for an example. More on them. So while I wouldn't say they're quite like in trouble, like panic mode, I do think that, like I said, there is reason for concern in oil country.
Phil?
Yeah, I'm going beer as well. It's too early to say in trouble. I don't like McDavid being out for 1 to 2 weeks. They didn't look good last night again. They got absolutely killed by Minnesota. Ryan Hartman had, 5 points in that game, a hat trick and 2 assists. I mean, he feasted on them last night. Uh, the Oilers did nothing, like Anthony said, to upgrade their defense or goaltending in the offseason. It seems like we're watching Pittsburgh West over there with all the dumb moves that they're making in terms of totally neglecting the two biggest areas of need in terms of what what they needed to improve. I don't get how Jack Campbell has 4 starts compared to Stuart Skinner's 3 when Jack Campbell has looked minor league caliber in net. I didn't understand starting him on opening night. I don't understand him getting the majority of the lion's share so far. I know it's 6 games and Campbell's got 4, but I mean, why is Campbell getting the nod here? Why is this? I mean, he's got 4 starts out of the 6 games, and Skinner's appeared in 3 games, starting 2 of them. So Campbell has not been good. I don't know what's going on with the coaching over there. I don't know what they're seeing, but I think they may need to overhaul something because Jay Woodcroft is not making the right decisions. I was never totally sold on Jay Woodcroft, but if this continues, Jay Woodcroft will be gone, I would say, maybe by the end of November if things don't turn around.
I mean,
Because
I think. I think we all agreed when they signed Jack Campbell, it was a mistake to the contract that you gave him.
yeah,
I
Bad
don't,
move.
I don't get that move. And he's got a 878 save percentage. What's even worse is, granted, he's only started 3 games. So again, not to reiterate sample size, but Stuart Skinner's save percentage is 818. I mean, these two goaltenders that the kind of statistics they're putting out right now are horrendous. So
yeah,
they need to both be better. Simple as
yeah,
that.
it's not just Campbell.
No,
Again, I'm saying I don't understand why he's getting the start when you had a guy that was up for the
Colton's
Calder
fine.
last year. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't get it. But for me, like you said, the biggest thing is the defense. They did nothing to improve it, and I don't trust the coach, and I don't know if the players trust the coach right now. It seems like the coach is lost. He's looking for answers, and I think that's part of it is because general manager, I think he's lost as well. He hasn't done anything to really address the big areas of need, and it's put the coach in a bad position. So it's a domino effect, and now you need to make some sort of adjustment somewhere. So I have, like I said, I have a feeling that if things keep going south for this team, with Connor McDavid out for a week or two, that's no good because he's a
Bless you.
big portion of their offense. That's the best player in the world, hands down. So if they come back from that and let's just say they lose all their games or something like that, or lose the vast majority of them until he comes back, and they're down in the playoff race, maybe you start hearing his name on the hot seat sooner than later.
Guys, I got to tell you, and by the way, Anthony, thanks for taking all the goaltending stats because I had them ready to go. This is something more of a concern for me. Number 1 in the league as far as like most goals against. So worst amount of goals against, the highest amount. Carolina Hurricanes, who right now are reeling with their goaltending and their defense. Right after them is the Edmonton Oilers with 27 in only 6 games, where Carolina's at least got 7 games played, and some of these other teams, like Minnesota Wild, 25 goals against. But I don't see where Edmonton improved in any way structurally or anything else. Matthias Ekholm was great for them at the trade deadline. But since then, I mean, they have to cut down their goals against. They're never going to learn this lesson. They're never going to do this. No, Edmonton Oilers are in trouble, and Connor McDavid might be able to save them, but what are they going to be, an 8 seed? That's about it. This is supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender. They're not a Stanley Cup contender. Come on.
Please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great hockey content and an entertaining interactive podcast. So check us out and our library of videos.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.